vas t'ennuyer.
Non, mais j'ai mes lèvres là pour vous souffrir.
Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm going to introduce myself. So my name is Frédéric Bernasconi, Orano. So I'm the project director of the GB2 Enrichment program that we're going to present you today.
And hello everyone, my name is Pierre-Etienne Girardot. I'm working for Orano project, which is the engineering subsidiary of Orano, and I'm a vice president for front-end business operations.
So just before sending a short video, I'm going to introduce you the project itself. Yep. So just to a little bit of context. So we imagine a couple of years ago to make this extension. It was a stop, and in 2022, with the start of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, we restart, this project because we had some customer coming to us saying, "Could you provide us some uranium enriched?" So just to give you a brief vision of the key players, producer of enriched uranium. So we have the first one are Russian, Rosatom, so 43%. We have Chinese that are using their enriched uranium for domestic purposes. And we have two Europeans, so we have Urenco and Orano. So just to come some key figures on the expansion. So we are talking about a capex of nearly 1.7 billion euros. The dimension that you're going to show on the video, the size of the building is 20,000 square meters. And we're going to pour nearly 30,000 cubic meters of concrete. This is basically the main information. To achieve, and I will come to the schedule later on, to achieve this schedule, so we have some enrichment facility already installed on Tricassin site, south of France. And so we started with this project with what we call a copy-paste strategy. So because we had some investment that were pretty recent, we decided to copy-paste exactly the original plan. It was a key factor to be able to achieve the schedule that you are just below. So the design, so we restarted the project with 2 or 3 people in July 2022. All the key achievement, it was in 2024. We had to pass to award, a couple of hundred of millions of euros, and we are in the middle of the fabrication phase. Straight now, we're going to see it on the video. The first goal is to have the facility in operation in 2028, so it's tomorrow. And what is specific to this facility is that we are able to start the production before the end of the construction phase. So we're going to show you this small video, that time-lapse, that presents you the work in progress currently. So the first concrete was poured in summertime 2024, so almost a little bit than 1 year ago, and we have already, as you can see, some work in progress. So just what you have to keep in mind is that it's a large project. It's among the top 5 of the investment in France. And what you have to keep in mind is that, for the supply chain is mainly French companies and essentially European companies.
So, safety first. Why do we have a specific slide on safety? Well, first of all, like any industrial player, it's one of our key values at Orano. But safety actually is a key metric for a large and complex project as we have. That's the reason we monitor it very closely. Because if safety goes bad, well, it might be a signal that other part of the project and are not going in the good direction. And then more importantly, safety is very important. It's a key metric for the whole nuclear industry, because if we are at the highest standards in terms of safety, this is one of the elements that will give confidence in our ability to master projects, complex projects, such as we have in GB2. So that is the reason why we have very high ambitions on safety. And you see here in yellow our targets and our current situation. So we're not so far, yet we're a little bit above, so we have to still room for improvement. But it is to be compared to the blue dots. So blue dots, it's the average for the construction industry, and it's the achievement, this one, of the Paris Olympics, which is reckoned as a very high standard. So we're a little bit below. And we are above the green point, which is NCPF, a project we delivered in La Hague, so in the back end, which is a bit less than €1 billion. So we have room for improvement. So where do we stand? That's the right part of the slide. We made a thorough analysis of all the accidental situations, so not only accidents, but all accidental situations. And we find that actually most of the time, work at height, mechanical handling are the first causes of accidents. But if we find the root causes of those accidents, what do we find? 90% of the time, our subcontractors are involved. 90% of the time, we see that there is a lack of safety culture in the first level of management. So that's the reason why from the very beginning of the project and constantly, we have an action plan in order to address these two core issues. And that's what you see on the right of the slide. So what we have to do is, first of all, communicate every day, every time, to all the workers on the site. You see here a picture of a stop of work that we organized because that's very weak. We were very far away from the standards we gave ourselves. Then we have to speak to the first level of management, middle management. So we have different formation sessions for them. We also have school training on the site, for instance, for working at height, know how to work in those situations. And the third point we have to address is to increase the accountability of the companies that are working on the site. So in the contracts, we have dedicated clauses, bonuses, maluses in terms of safety. And also we implemented on the site a system of red, yellow cards if we're away from our standards. Of course, this is very French. We also always tend to see what's not going well. And we have a challenge collectively to see what's going well and to compliment people about the key initiatives they take on the field. And I would like to end the slide and have a conclusion that we do share with Frédéric, which is that safety is key for a success of a project like this. It's not only delivering on budget, time, quality, it's also delivering with the highest safety standards. That's very important. And the second point we share is that it's not a matter of one project. It's not a matter of one company. It's really a matter of the whole nuclear industry. We do collectively have to meet the highest standards on safety if we want to succeed in the recovery, the launch of the nuclear industry.
Just one slide to provide you the key milestone achieved. So as a memory, all the contracts were awarded in 2024. So between December 2023 and the end of 2024, it was the key milestone to be reached. Just an exception to the copy-paste strategy because we wanted exactly the same object, technical object. What we did is that all the bid procurement was done with the manufacturing design of the historical facility. So we didn't go back to the design, engineering design with guide drawings. So all the bid phase were done with the manufacturing design, and it was competitive bid. And some of the winners were not the historical suppliers. So we have to adapt, the analysis of the offers to be sure that all the tenders knew exactly, the content of the design. So the first pour of the civil work, so the civil work started in August 2024. They were just alone on the field. And since we have more than 20 lots, so we have painters, we have frame workers, so on site. So we have more than 20 lots, 180 companies. So some key milestones that were achieved were the first aluminium weld. So weld is very often a nightmare, but aluminium weld is really a nightmare. So we had to make some cautious and to be very cautious on the way we are welding. Cascade hole is on the critical path. So the cascade hole will be the place where will be located all the centrifuges. It's on the critical path. Cascade valve frame is a typical equipment that needed to be manufactured. The arrival of the other work packages on site, I just mentioned it. We had a breach that was open because we are building just next to the existing facility that is in operation. So we have a co-activity between the new build and the existing operators. Short-term outlook, so we will have an increase of the work packages on site. So our deal in 2025 and 2026 will be the management of the co-activity. We'll have some installation of some key equipment by the end of this year. The first station, so the station is a key equipment also that you can see, on the right pictures. So the first station will arrive on site. That means that we will have finished, of course, the civil work, finish the paint, all the supports, all the pipes, and then we can introduce the equipment. So it will be a key milestone that will be reached by the end of this year.
So from the very beginning of the project, we wanted to implement the best practices in terms of engineering. And what does it mean for us as an engineering company to have those best practices? Actually, it means switching from a document-centric approach to a data-centric approach. So using more and more data in order to manage the project. So here's an example of what we call the 4D modeling that we actually use to monitor the project. So what is it? Actually, it's quite simple. It starts with a schedule with its different milestones. And we plug it in the 3D model of the plant so that we can have time sequences. And we use it both for long-term issues and short-term issues. I will start with long-term issues, and you have on the slide, on the right part, a picture of some operations that will have to be done before we incorporate the stations that Frédéric told about. And so it actually helped us with the subcontractors to show them what they will have to do in what actually is quite a limited space so that they can realize the constraints they will have. And it was very useful for them. And then we used it as well to optimize the critical path, because when we saw the different operations on the 4D model, we realized that we might switch some operations. So for instance, the installation of the support for ventilation and the pipes, we switched the two operations and it proved more efficient on the critical path. Here, the second picture is something we do not use for the moment, but that we will use. It's actually it will help us show on the picture what is on time compared to what was on the, in reality compared to what was on the planning and what is ahead of schedule. So for instance, you see that here this yellow pipe is a little bit late compared to what we would have wanted to be. But the most efficient that we use at the moment is for the short-term issues on the project. So it's the next slide. And actually, it helps us managing the co-activity of different subcontractors. Frédéric told us that there are many players on the site. So it's really key for us to make sure that the coordination is very clear for everyone. So how do we use it? Basically, every Wednesday, the subcontractors send us some data about what they will do in the 3 weeks ahead. So half a day per half a day. Then on Tuesday, we analyze all this information. We check if there is a room where there are too many players. And if so, we reorganize. We tell one of them, OK, no, it's not going to be this room, but the other one. Then we send this to all the players, so they have access to the tool. And on Friday, we organize a face-to-face meeting so that we can talk about the key priorities. Not only small points to be coordinated, the key priorities. And so you see on this application, which is a Power BI, we can select the week, we can select the day, we can select the room in the plant, and then we see how many players, how many subcontractors will be working, and who they are, and we can select and then prioritize the different tasks according to their importance on the critical path. And I wanted to conclude this slide by adding a comment on the fact that using data like this means way before thinking about the way we will structure data. And that's the reason why more than 2 years ago, we said in the call for tenders, every week, that's the data format in which you will provide us with your information. So that was something that was anticipated in the call for tenders. But using data, again, it's key. It means structuring data way before you will use it.
Thank you, Pierre-Etienne. Just the last slide, before the last slide. So as a reminder, the project team presented to the ExCom the schedule in July 2022, with a start in operation in 2028. So in 2025, we are exactly halfway. So we are currently on track, on schedule. So we were asked what are the factors for success. So it's pretty simple, but it's good to. The first one is to have clearly defined the needs, the technical object. Without this input, you cannot be successful. So it's pretty basic, it's simple, but if you forget it, you make a big mistake. So we have to have clarified. So in this project, we wanted to copy-paste with the exception of the evolution in regulation. But first, you have to have the design, the technical object clearly defined. So we apply the copy-paste strategy, really apply. We created a commission. What it was nice to have because we are very creative and we didn't want to have creative engineers in the project. We just wanted to Xerox what's working well. The second bullet point is to have an ambitious but realistic schedule. This is something, it's like objective. It has to be realistic. So we analyze, what was performed, on the original plan before. And commitment, share with all the stakeholders. The third bullet point, it's a competent project team that are very experienced, very close to the field. This is something that is very important, with a huge culture of the challenge. Why? Because when you discuss, when you exchange, you have habits. But when you are searching, digging a little bit, you see that there is no reason, no clear requirement on this. So be curious and rigorous. The fourth point is to have a short decision loops. If we want to achieve the schedule, we have to react very quickly. So all the teams are located in the same building. The owner, the engineering organization, we are all located in the same building, just nearby the construction site. It's very important. We have the delegation, so if we are in place to manage a project, we need to have the delegation. Not to ask everybody outside, the authorization to do. And we did the exercise is to limit the number of people in the meetings, because by habits you have plenty of people. So meetings, type of meetings by type of meetings, we just limit the people to the just number of guys needed to be involved. And the final one is to have finally all the stakeholders engaged. And for example, with the administrative French authorities, every 3 months we are going to Paris. Sometimes we have nothing to ask for, just to explain where we are on the schedule. So, and the second bullet point is also to meet all our requirement or commitment. So we need to apply or to provide this document at these dates. We are doing this, in time and in quality. This is very important. And the last bullet point is we cannot work without a solid supply chain that is also engaged. So we have really worked as a partnership with suppliers, and I think that when I meet all the guys on the WNE, they are happy to work with us. We really have a partnership relationship, and it's really key for success. That's it for our presentation.